Here's one thing that I'm not sure a whole lot of people think about as we're getting older, that we look forward to the time when we're going to have more time to do the things we want to do. And we're accumulating the wisdom to be able to pull off those things that we want to do when we have more time. But once we get to that opportunity where those things fall in place, it's starting to feel like the world has changed so much that we kind of feel like, oh, now I have to start from scratch. But I don't think that's true. And I hope you don't either. Are you starting to think about that book that you've thought about writing for the last 20 years? Do you really want to understand the things that are in your investment portfolio? Are you kind of thinking, no, maybe I could think about that small business idea that you've had now that you're maybe getting close to being semi retired or retired? The world has not reset itself so much that those things aren't possible. And there's even now, I think, really helpful tools that can help us to pull all these things off. But you might feel like, well, they're actually designed for 25-year-olds. I'm here to tell you that's not true. I want to introduce you to Claude AI. And though it has a lot of very similar characteristics to ChatGPT, which you might have heard about, I think there are definitely some benefits that it brings that I thought I just wanted to tell you about. In a lot of ways, Claude seems more patient, more thoughtful, and maybe a bit more effective for an older crowd. So, in this video, I want to show you how Claude AI can help, maybe specifically with some things in this stage of life, but I don't want to get into tech jargon or a lot of the confusing things that you might automatically have a knee jerk reaction with AI. This video is not sponsored in any way. I have just found some helpful information and I thought you might find it helpful too. Hey, I'm Diane. I'm in my mid 50s and I've started this YouTube channel to help my fellow folks who are over the age of 40 to have opportunities for more impact and hopefully some more income. And a lot of the ways that I focus on that is encouraging you to share what you know, especially by starting a YouTube channel and then having the opportunity for income streams that would come from that. But in the background, I think there's a whole lot of other things we can learn, especially in this season where AI is changing so many things. So I've had a pretty well received video on ChatGPT. I have that linked below, and I also have a link to it here if you want to take a look at that. But another one that I really think you should take a little bit of an opportunity to consider is Claude AI. So let's get into it. Here's what I think might make Claude a bit more attractive to an older age group than, say, ChatGPT. Hey, could I just ask you really quick to hit subscribe on the channel? I hope this is bringing you value. I hope my other videos too. And honestly, I just really love to be able to stay in touch. Number one, I think Claude is better at deeper, more nuanced kind of conversations. It's not one that is just going to spit out a really quick answer for you, and you're like, well, that really wasn't what I asked at all. If you're wrestling with a big decision, especially, or trying to really understand something complex, Claude is better at walking through, getting through the layers of that answer with you step by step. Number two, I think Claude excels at dealing with long, detailed information. You can upload a really long document. You can upload a long contract or maybe even just a big manuscript that you're writing, and it's going to be able to handle it better than a lot of the other programs. It can take those big documents and analyze it and summarize it and provide those pointed information things that you're looking for from it. So, some asset like that is huge when you're dealing with retirement planning documents or estate planning questions or anything that requires a lot of careful reading. And it just seems overwhelming that it can bring it to a more bite sized approach to really help you to be able to understand. And number three, I think Claude AI tends to give maybe a more thoughtful, balanced perspective to your questions. So when you ask it about some pretty sensitive topics like healthcare decisions or family matters, it's likely to give you maybe some multiple angles for the answer. It's not just going to spit out that one approach. It's going to help you to think through implications of the solutions that it offers and hopefully help you to get to your best response. And in case you're wondering by this point, it's free to use today. No credit card is required for you to get started. There's no commitment. There's nothing to lose. I think it's great to just jump in and start exploring. But how do I do that, Diane? Well, here we go. Let me walk you through an initial setup for using Claude, and it takes about 2 minutes. And if you're able to check your email, then we can do it right now. Step one, just open up whatever web browser you normally use, whether that's Chrome or Safari. Any of those, all of them are going to be fine. And then in your browser window, you want to type in Claude AI. That is CLAUDE.ai. If it makes it simpler, I'll put a direct link to that in the description below this video. From that point, you'll see a button that says Start Using Claude. All you do is hit that. And for the final step of the setup, perhaps the easiest way to do it is if you have a Google account or Gmail account, you can click on that and use that as your sign in for it. Then you don't have any password or verification to remember. But if you don't have that or you'd rather not, just put in your email address and do a standard sign up process that you would do with pretty much any web form. Once you're through that, that's it. And you're looking at Claude's chat interface, and it pretty much just looks like sending a text message. You type your question or initial request, and then Claude gives you a response, and you're having that type of conversation with the interface. Now, before we move on any further, let me just address what many consider the elephant in the room with this kind of conversation, and that's about privacy and safety. Should you put your social security number or bank passwords or other highly sensitive information into Claude? I think that answer should be obvious that no, you shouldn't. Just like you shouldn't on any type of website that isn't designed and protected specifically for that purpose. But for anything else, your writing projects, your questions about healthcare, your documents that you're putting into it, think of it like using a search engine like Google or communicating with a trusted advisor. If you're using common sense in what you share online, with whether it's an AI assistant or really any other kind of website, you're going to be fine. So let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about 5 powerful ways that I think Claude can assist you with things that you might be thinking about in this stage of life. Number 1, let Claude help you understand medical and healthcare information. How many times have you left a doctor's appointment and you're like, I have no idea how to navigate all this? You've been given a huge amount of information. You might have a whole bunch of test results. You might have appointments that you have to think through and other specialists to go to. And you're like, I don't even know where to start. Or maybe it's the financial end. You're thinking about trying to understand Medicare coverage and prescription drug coverage and medical bills that look like they're in a foreign language, and it's all just seems too overwhelming. Here's how Claude might be able to help. So let's say your doctor mentioned something called hypertension management. And they gave a little bit of an overview, and then they gave you a pamphlet to take home. You can use your smartphone to take a picture of that pamphlet and upload it to Claude, and then give it a prompt. And the prompt needs to help you get to the answer that you want to get back. So here's a sample prompt you might want to use in that type of situation. I'm 62 years old, and my doctor gave me this information about managing high blood pressure and hypertension management. Can you explain this in simple terms and tell me what questions I should ask at my next appointment? The answer you're going to get back from Claude is going to be much more in plain English for you, and it's not going to have the medical jargon. It can at least get some of your primary questions answered, and it's going to help you be more prepared for the further conversations you're going to have with a medical provider. Or let's say you have been taking a look at Medicare supplement plans, and honestly, the differences are making your head spin. So here's a sample prompt you could use in that type of situation. I'm trying to choose between Medicare Supplement Plan G and Plan N. I'm generally healthy but want good coverage. Can you please explain the key differences in a way I can actually understand? I've used Claude recently when helping my parents to make some decisions about the long term care coverage that they've been paying for years, and new questions were coming about with the policy. I updated what was about a 40 to 50 page policy and went through and asked the specific questions that they were looking for. And I asked it to summarize the key points and the exclusions that were necessary to know as well. That action saved hours of additional research. And then when we were able to make an appointment with the person at the insurance company to be able to talk about it, I think we were very well equipped to ask the spark questions at that point, rather than just going in with that lost look in our eyes of we don't even know where to start. It made the whole end game of that so much more productive. Now, let me emphasize, with Claude and with any other AI agent that you might use in this way, it's not a doctor, it's not a medical professional, it's not a legal professional, but it can really help you to summarize things so that you get a better understanding of it and that you're better positioned to be able to make better decisions and ask better questions as you move forward. Number 2, and let's make this a bit more personable. Have you thought of writing the story of your life, writing a memoir, writing some family history down so that your children and grandchildren have it? Maybe you've just always thought about writing a book about a topic that you really have a lot of knowledge in, and you know that you have stuff that can encourage people. But when you sit down and you're like, I want to outline what I want to say, or I'm just going to get started, and you open up that blank document and that cursor blinks at you, and you're like, I don't have the faintest idea where to start. Claude can actually be a really solid writing partner for all of those kinds of projects. So try this as a prompt, because let Claude's insights be able to kind of pull out of you the things that are going to be necessary for you to get started. I want to write stories about my life for my grandchildren. I grew up in a small town in Ohio in the 1960s. Can you give me 20 questions to help me start to remember important moments and get started writing? And Claude will come back with thoughtful prompts that might include: what was your first job? What did you learn from your favorite teacher in elementary school? Describe the house you grew up in and tell me about what your childhood bedroom had in it. Now, these may not be things that end up in your final product, but they're going to be things that get the juices flowing and get you thinking about things. Then, once you've gotten started writing and you have maybe just stuff all over the place, you're like, well, I got started and I have some stuff here, but it feels really disorganized. Then go on to a prompt like this with Claude. I wrote this story about my grandmother and it feels disorganized. Please help me structure it better while keeping my voice and memories intact. And then I think where Claude's strength is, it doesn't rewrite it in a way that sounds like AI, like people talk about now. It takes your voice and it makes it more organized, it makes it flow better, and I think you're going to be happier with the product that you get back from it in a creative fashion. A third use can be helping it to plan your retirement budget and even some of what your retirement lifestyle might look like. So whether you're already retired or whether it's something that's a little bit down the road, but you're planning for it, I think two of the biggest challenges with that are how to make your money last and how to plan your days. Let's start with budgeting. Here's a prompt you might think about. I'm 66 and just retired. My income is now $4,500 per month from Social Security and a pension. I own my own home now with no mortgage. Can you ask me questions to help me create a realistic monthly budget that includes some travel and hobbies? So once you get that answer back, you can have Claude keep asking you clarifying questions to help define what some of your priorities are, what some of the charitable giving is that you want to have, whether you want to have more expensive travel and less for home maintenance. All those sorts of things you can define, and as you keep going through that, you're going to get more nuanced answers back from Claude that can really help you get your budgeting established. And then look at the lifestyle planning aspect. Retirement, I'm hoping, is going to be wonderful and it's going to have a lot of free time. But I also know people that get into that point of life and they're just struggle because it's like, I don't know how to spend my time effectively. Try asking Claude something like this: I just retired after 35 years of teaching. I want to stay active and engaged, but I'm not sure how to structure my days now that I don't have work. Can you help me brainstorm a weekly routine that includes physical activity, social connection, family time, and personal projects? Then let Claude bring you ideas of, again, how you prioritize, but maybe more importantly, ideas of things that you haven't even considered at this point. And you can tick down the list as something that's really going to interest you or something that you're like, not for me, but keep asking questions and get the better answer pulled out. A fourth way that Claude can really help in this stage of life is to honestly just help you learn how to use technology better. Have you ever made any of these declarations at this point? I want to use my iPhone better. I want to learn Instagram because I want to keep up with what my grandkids are doing. I want to know how to make a FaceTime call and not feel like an idiot that I open up the screen and don't know what to do. Sure, you can watch YouTube tutorials, but a lot of times they may not really fit exactly where you are and what your level of knowledge is. And that's fine. Claude can help. Here's a prompt you might want to use. I have an iPhone and I want to learn how to use FaceTime to video call my daughter who lives across the country. I've never done this before. Can you explain it step by step and assume I don't know any technical terms? Claude is going to break that down into the simplest possible steps and wait for you to confirm that you're ready to go to the next step before it takes you down the process. What person in your life is likely to do that? You can say, wait, I got confused at step three. Can you explain that to me again? And there's no eye rolling, there's no impatience. It just goes back, it gives you a different explanation, and we'll wait until you're ready to move on. You can use Claude to help you learn how to organize photo albums on your phone. You can use it to help you set up your documents on your desktop so you're always able to go in and find what you're looking for without going through 49 different levels of storage. It can help you understand how to use a streaming service as opposed to just cable TV. All these things that seem like terms that you should know, but you're really not sure about. Claude is a great place to ask these questions and get the answers that are actually going to help. The key is that you're learning at your own pace, you're on a schedule that helps you to be able to understand it and take it in, and you can ask as many follow up questions as you want or need. Now, here's idea number 5, and this is always the ones that I like to talk about because it's the option of being able to earn more as you have more influence. Maybe by this point in life, you've gotten to the point where you're retired or semi retired, and you're thinking, okay, I can earn some extra income. I've talked to my tax professional, I know what I can do. Or this is a small business that I've always thought of starting, and now I finally have the time to do it. Maybe you're a woodworker and you create really stunning cutting boards and you want to be able to sell them. Or you're a fantastic gardener and you have people asking you how to you do what you do all the time and you're like, "Oh, I could teach some courses online." Or maybe you have decades of a specific professional experience and you're like, "Okay, now I want to do some consulting now that I'm retired." Claude can help you figure out all the practical steps to make those things happen. Here's a sample prompt. I'm a retired accountant, and I'm thinking about offering part time bookkeeping services to local small businesses. I've never run my own business before. Can you outline the steps I need to take to get started, including legal and practical considerations? Claude will then walk you through all the considerations like business registrations, like how to price your services, like how to market your services and get your first client. Or maybe you make amazing homemade jam and you want to start selling it at farmers markets. Here's a prompt for that type of thing. I make strawberry jam and my friends keep telling me I should sell it. What do I need to know about food safety laws, pricing, and marketing if I want to sell at local farmers markets? The beauty of Claude in this type of circumstance is just like all the others. It meets you where you are with the questioning level you are. You don't have to be an MBA for you to be able to understand the business advice is going to give you. It's going to give you practical steps and it's going to set you up so that when you do speak to like financial or tax professionals down the road with this, you're well equipped to have questions that are going to get the information that you need. I think the bottom line with all of these is that a help that you get from artificial intelligence like Claude or ChatGPT, all of these things are going to give you ideas that you may not have gotten otherwise, are going to answer questions that you may not have even known how to ask or who to ask otherwise, and things that you thought about for years that might have felt out of reach now might seem, hopefully, a little bit more approachable. Now, before we wrap up here, I want to use a term of calling a power prompt template. And I know that might sound way too salesy, but it's really just keeping in mind that the better questions you ask AI, the better things you're going to get back. And a lot of times you can structure a prompt in the same way, kind of like no matter what question it is, to be able to get a good response. So let's hit that quickly. Most people, when they're making prompts, ask questions that I think are way too vague. And then they get back answers that they're not happy with. Too vague means asking something like, help me with my finances, or I want to write something, help me. Here's a simple, powerful template for a prompt that you can use with Claude. And I hope you're able to take a screenshot or something and just kind of keep it as a basis for when you're coming up with your prompts and your questions. I need help with, and talk about the specific task. Here's my situation. And you provided as much context as you can about where you're coming from, where you're at currently, what you want to accomplish. And my goal is talk about what you want to achieve. This is for who or what purpose? This is for my family. This is for my volunteer organization. And I want it to achieve, and talk about that. Can you, and then give the specific request of what it is that you want to get back? And again, it may not be the whole thing at once. You might want to take your questions for, especially learning something that's really new to you, and take some and ask questions like a piece at a time. So it's not overwhelming you with what you get back. And you can do more with the answers you're getting as you learn as you go. So there you have it. There's a quick overview of what Claude AI is and some of the specific ways that you can put it to use. I hope this has been eye-opening for you. I hope it's given you some ideas of ways that you can use it in your specific circumstance, and not just think that it's something that seems untouchable, especially for the over 40 crowd. I really think it could be a really useful tool, just like any of these AI engines are that are coming out, and there seems like there's more popping out every day. But the two big ones, I think, especially for asking questions and even more with maybe creative stuff, are ChatGPT and Claude. And as I expressed in the beginning, I think you're going to get more thoughtful, nuanced answers from Claude than from ChatGPT. And if that's something that matters to you, if that seems like that's some projects you're going to be starting that's of value, then give it a shot. You have nothing to lose. Technology does not need to be intimidating. It's a tool, and it's a tool that can really help, especially when we get to a stage of life that we feel like, so much new now I don't understand. It really does help us to be able to get those perspectives that we want to use and capitalize on the time and wisdom and abilities that we have in this season of our life. Hey, I'd love to hear how you think you might be using Claude. What sort of scenarios you might put it to the test with, and put some prompts in. Always looking for more ideas, and I read all the comments, and I know lots of other people read the comments too, and I think we can help each other to generate some good ideas as to how we can really put it to use and get the best value from it. Hey, I really appreciate you watching. I'm getting so many questions about AI things. I'll probably be making more of these AI sort of explainer videos. If you found it helpful, I would love if you would subscribe, and we can keep having these conversations, and we can keep in touch too. So until next time, thank you so much for watching.